Good morning, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show, brought to you by the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And now, here's your host.
Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna, and this morning we're visiting with Jason Phillips. He's a Simpson County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Joanna.
Now, Jason, all week we've kind of been talking about nuisance animals and identifying them, and probably one on the top of a lot of homeowners' list are moles.
We can't talk about nuisance animals around the home without talking about moles. I mean, you and I both, as I'm sure all other extension agents across the state of Kentucky, ag agents, get questions about moles.
Yeah.
And they can really be a problem. They can be treacherous on our walking ability out in our yards. Obviously, they're make unsightly problems, and just generally people want to get rid of them.
Absolutely. And you know, probably the first thing to kind of talk about it is where those moles are going, because we have to understand a little bit about the nature of a mole.
Well, the moles are tunneling usually about 6 inches under the ground, and they're looking for food. And so that's what we're going to talk about today to kind of key on in order to try to control those moles. But you've got some tunnels that they use all the time, like active highways. And then you've got other tunnels in which they may make once and never use again. So if you
so if you're baiting or trapping in those tunnels, you're going to be unsuccessful.
You're going to be wasting your time. You're not going to have any success. And you know, moles are very active feeders. And so most people think they've got tons and tons of moles. But really, 2 to 3 moles per acre is usually about what people have. So, and they don't reproduce very quickly. So if you catch one mole or kill one mole, then you've made obviously a big dent in that population. So
sure. Now, some people at home might be saying, I'm not a mole expert. How do I find out which tunnels are their major highways?
Well, that's really important, because we can't afford, and I want to talk about these as well in trapping too. You got to find the active tunnels, but regardless, you can't just go out there and afford to put a trap or a worm in every tunnel. So you go out there when the ground's soft after a heavy dew or after a rain and mash that tunnel down with your foot. Typically, I tell folks not to mash any tunnels down, you know, right next to one another. Put about 3 feet of distance in between those tunnels, and you can mark those with these survey flags, or if the grass is growing real fast, I've used spray paint. And you can mark the spot that you mashed the ground down, and then come back probably about 36 hours later and see if that tunnel is pushed back up. And if it is, then you know you've identified an active tunnel.
Okay, and so that is where you would need to either place a trap or some of these baits, right?
Key your efforts in trapping, or killing the moles, baiting the moles in those active tunnels.
Okay. So there's a lot of products on the market, though. If you go to the store, there are almost a whole aisle of mole deterrence baits, traps, echo, electric sensors.
Everything you can think of, everything under the sun. And of course, we've heard all kinds of stories about use this and use that. You know, there's all kinds of tales about how to control moles.
But probably the most effective that you would recommend are these mole killers.
Yeah, the worms, the fake worms. These are grubs, but there's also fake earthworms. And I would just recommend following the label, reading the label, and going by the label recommendations. But these worms have proven to be very effective. As I've recommended these over the years, I've not heard of anybody, and I've recommended it to a lot of people, say that they did not have success with these type of worms. And again, I'm not advocating this brand. You know, they've all got basically bromethalin, the same active ingredient, and that's the key.
Okay, and like you mentioned, there's probably 2 to 3 moles per acre, so if you get rid of one and you think you've won the battle, that they can appear all throughout the year, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, they feed and they're active all throughout the year, so you just need to keep an eye out and utilize these worms, place them in the active tunnels, and then you're going to be more successful in controlling those moles.
Yeah, so probably as long as you find the active tunnel and you utilize these properly. Now, how do you know? Will you just know that you're not seeing very many more tunnels and that you got the mole, or? Typically,
you know, the new tunnels you'll obviously see there's no fresh dirt or new tunnels showing up, and that's when you know, hey, I've gotten some of the moles.
Been successful. All right, Jason, thanks for the information. And if you have any questions, make sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for watching.
If you have questions about today's topic, please call the Warren County Extension Office at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.